I was muted. Okay. So anyway, this is us going for real. I'm gonna go ahead and talk some about Spider-Man Brand New Day. I'm gonna talk some about the new Batman series that's going on. I have seen episodes 1 through 7 of that stuff. So here in just a couple minutes, I'll be sharing with all of the other things and all that. Hey, also, I read some comic books this week. I read The Dirt Beneath the Devil, #1. I'll hold that up again in a minute for anybody that'll be joining us. And I also just read my first 2000 AD. If you know what Judge Dredd and stuff like that is, then you know what that is. So, yeah. Um, yes, that totally has to do with me getting into the UK comic book market and everything. Where in the world is this other thing coming in line? There it is. All right. So I'm going to take this, and that's why I have on headphones so you can't hear all of that insanity when I'm copying and pasting this. But here we go. Twitter, sending it to you now. This is what people do that do this stuff for free. And totally a not monetized channel. I can say or do whatever I want, presumably, unless it's illegal. And then I can't. But yeah, so every now and then I come on and I make like a live video or whatnot. This is just what you're getting, and then I'm going to cut right into it. And it's talking about it, thinking about it. Done. And I had not determined if I was going to do LinkedIn or not, but whatever. So anyway, I went down and I saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. I was there with my family. We went to check this out. I've heard so many outrageously positive reviews about this. And honestly, if you don't have hope for Spider-Man movies, it's just not your cup of tea. Outside of the third Tobey Maguire movie being, pretty terrible, none of them have really been awful. Like in like a true awful sense, slap somebody that thinks different. In a true awful sense, they've not been. They've excelled most superhero movies. Some have been better than others. I've heard some people say that, man, they're like this new Spider-Man Brand New Day is the greatest superhero film ever made. I don't know that I would go that far, but it's a good, coherent, cohesive story. It has some MCU stuff going in. It has tons of fanfare for Spider-Man things. I'm just going to give you the long and the short of it right here. It's something that I feel like that people, like my wife, for one, would understand that didn't truly know the comics, right? They'll know who Punisher is. They'll know who the Hulk is. If they've seen the Thunderbolts New Avengers movie, they'll know who the new Black Widow character, is in that. She plays a small role in this. So they'll have that down. Different Spider-Man villains like Tombstone and Scorpion, Boomerang, Tarantula. A lot of them, there's a lot of cameos that you'll see in the movie that's just kind of like click, 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 kind of stuff. That's just to show that he's been a busy boy for 4 years while the love of his life and his best friend were at MIT for 4 years. There he's been on the down low, not telling them who he is, grieving inside, suffering alone, hurting because he made everybody forget who he was, that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, right? In this movie, the big setup is that you have damage control. This is spoilers, heavy spoilers. I'm just giving it away. You get damage control, and they're finding individuals that could be considered a threat, and they want to utilize their abilities, their powers, their tech, whatever, and take it into their own. In DC, you have like Amanda Waller and people like that want to do that. It's like, can we use this for our betterment, our good, in our opinion? So you've got Damage Control doing that. That's going to very easily turn into them like hunting mutants, into making sentinels, all kinds of stuff. That's that sort of thing. Jean Grey is the quote unquote villain in this, even though, is she a villain? Her sister gets taken by these people, gets murdered by these people. They just suck her dry, and they want that telekinetic power. And so Jean Grey's trying to investigate what all happened, and her powers just keep leveling up through the movie. She's body jumping into different people, taking total like control of them, like puppeteering them. The Punisher, Hulk, different individuals, just normal, people, all that. Later, she does some like telekinetic things with her mind, all that. But no, it's a good movie. It's an enjoyable movie. There's not really been Spider-Man outside of the third Spider-Man movie that I knew would be bad when they said they were having Sandman and Venom, and really all of the Venom movies have underperformed what they should have been for Venom. But none of them have really truly been bad. People that want to like complain about it, they've not been awful comparatively to other superhero things. Have they missed the mark over here, whatever? Sure, whatever. This one, you've got MJ that's not Mary Jane. It's its own thing. Yeah, I hear you, whatever. But the stories are cohesive and all that, and they do enough things for the fans and the branding and multiverse stuff and all of that. So, yeah, I liked it fine. So I've seen episodes 1 through 7 of the Batman Caped Crusader stuff going on. Let me see. I'm not like pulling them up on screen here to see, but it'll just be helpful to me to look over. And for some reason, Meth Gator is coming up. That was a movie. Meth Gator, everybody. Yeah, they've got a couple things like that. Yeah, episode 1, you've got a bunch of things going on with Rupert Thorne, some of his goons. You're the Riddler in this. The Riddler is nothing like the Riddler that you think that you're gonna get. He's just like an old school noir gangster type guy. He has the color scheme and all going on. That's like the Mad Hatter is not the Mad Hatter that you think. It's a woman with a talk show that just kind of runs this like gossip rag talk show and everything through Gotham. So you've got that. In the second episode, you have the story of I can't remember her name, if it's like Rosie the Rocketeer or whatever it is, but that woman that rides on the rocket and all that, isn't she a Superman villain? Anyway, she's in that because there's some very bad people that she's trying to take down. So again, she's like a vigilante, not a villain, and she's trying to take them down and stop them. Deep Cover has to do with Nigma, how he's taken on Rupert Thorne's criminal, empire. Rupert Thorne has been taken out by the Joker, who makes cameos, brief, subtle cameos at the end of all of these, building up to him as the end boss, which I've not got to yet. Because like I said, I've only seen through episode 7, and there's 10 episodes, but at the end of episode 7, something substantial happens with him. So he will either be first appearing in number 8 or number 9, and of course they're going to roll out a grand finale, and you know that by the name of it. Deep Cover, Bruce Wayne makes himself up into Manchus Malone. He goes inside a black gate, helps this dude get out. He gets shot for his trouble and everything, but he winds up seeing what a scumbag that a Riddler is. the supernatural episode, or one of the supernatural episodes, kind of sort of is number 4, the Devil's Due. They've got a cult that wants to pray to this like man bat demon thing, and they're like robbing people, and somebody's using this religious organization as like a thing to suck people in and say, to bring it back, we gotta rob all these places and get all these valuables and everything. And he just wants like the money. I mean, he's gonna pawn them off, or fence them or something. So you have that type of thing going on there. The reason I say that it's a supernatural one, even though you're told that this isn't a real demon thing by, is it Dr. Voodoo? Is that his name? He's the dude, the black guy that wears the heavy eye makeup, that runs the Linton's occult bookstore, that appears in the episode in the previous season, where there's a literal ghost that Batman is up against. The 5th episode is kind of a supernatural science fiction episode. Jim Corrigan, who, if you know DC Comics, you know as the Spectre, plays his role in this, but it's done the way that they do it. He has an experiment done to him. He's killed, but he comes back to life as kind of a zombie-esque, Walking Dead person. You can shoot him and shoot him and shoot him. I mean, he keeps going. He's exacting revenge, on getting vengeance, justice, whatever, on these people that there wasn't enough evidence to put them away. Like Fauci, they pleaded the 5th or whatever, and they got to walk, even though they're evil people. They're going straight to hell, whatever. They're all awful, and he kills them all. Every one of them. He murders them, and then he finally, at the very end, goes to where Jim Gordon's daughter is, and she says, "What do you want?" And instead of saying vengeance to her, because she's not a bad person, in fact, he was shady and all as a cop, and that's why he was in prison and why this stuff's happened to him. He says that he wants forgiveness to her, and then he basically collapses, and that's the way that episode goes. Number 6 is called Sudden Fear. So if you know anything about Batman, you know that that's going to be like the variant of the Scarecrow, at least for this. He wears a plague mask. You've got all that going on. It brings Harley Quinn, the thick Asian lesbian Harley Quinn is who you have in this. It brings her out of hiding, and she was living with the female Hispanic detective Renee. Oh, I know her name. You know who I'm talking about. But she was staying with her, and she's a psychiatrist and everything, and she's helping do criminal profiling and all on this dude, and helps Batman to apprehend this guy that's like killing college students by them being scared to death. Number 7 is the one where Riddler bites the dust. Riddler dies in number 7 in this by being mowed down by a machine gun with this variation, this other world's version of Batman, Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy is who kills him. He killed her daddy. The daddy owned a flower shop. Poison Ivy, the girl Rose, she makes herself up into like a hotter, seductive, bad girl type, and goes to like robbing the town blind and everything. Has Edward Nygma wrapped around her little finger. Takes him into the flower shop. She's got a wreath. It's classic. She's got Edward Nygma rot in hell wrote on the wreath. And he says, "Is this supposed to be a joke or anything?" And she tells him who she is, and she just shoots them all to pieces. That's the way that one goes. At the very tail end of that one, the guys are sitting around and they toast him. For some reason, they're under the delusion that he went to heaven. Which why would you think that? But they say, "What are we gonna do?" And then that's when Joker comes from a doorway that's behind him. Shows enough of him. He's usually silhouetted, but you'll see like the eyes or whatever. And he says, "You'll work for me." So you've got at the end of the first one, you've got Rupert Thorne laughs himself to death. At the end of the second one, you have the what's it? Why am I drawing a blank when I go ahead and do this? It would be great if I had an interactive audience. Um, the Hugo Strange. You have Hugo Strange. It's got the smile on his face. You've got that at the end of another one where the producer for the Mad Hatter lady. That's at the end of number 4, where he's got the smile on his face. At the end of number 3, you got Joker, where he's watching Batman with like the binoculars and all that. So they keep teasing and playing it up that Joker's going to be the main threat. Joker's going to be the main threat. Joker's going to be the main threat. Not weird for a Batman thing, right? So the next episode is called 0 Hour, and it's Batman, where he is trying to find the Rupert Thorne stuff going on. The picture that it shows kind of looks like it could be like a black Mr. Freeze. I don't know. If that's what's going on or not, but nonetheless, Batman's doing stuff in 0 Hour. Death Before Dawn is the next one, and in the description for that, it says the Joker publicly announces. Those are the first few words. And that he's coming after the mayor. So he's either going to make a grand introduction in number 8 or number 9. And then finally, the Laughing Death is the very last episode of this. Due to pictures that people have went ahead and put up, I do see that they will have a female Robin, and she won't be like in Robin attire, but in Gray Ghost. If you know Batman the Animated Series, you know who the Gray Ghost is. They'll be in like the Gray Ghost attire with like the fedora and the sunglasses and whatnot, all that type of thing. So that's what's going on with that. I've also been watching Star Trek and everything. This is all beside the fact that I've had so many things actually going on, like running circles around a lot of indie people in comics or whatever on the production end. Anyway, I'm trying to do what I can do, and if I was just making bank, if I was making a lot of money, there would be a bunch of artists that would be employed, and they would in turn be making a lot of money, because I'm not going to get rich and other people get paid, like not, great or whatever. But super happy to work with all the uber talented people that I have. I'm really blessed. God's been good to me. Got a publisher here in America and somebody over in the UK that have expressed some interest in the Hellfire stuff, talking to magazines and different sorts of people and different places all over the world, because I don't think like most people think. I'm not one of these guys that's like eyeing Asia, like, man, I got to get into Asia. I got to get into Asia. I got to get into Asia. Marvel and all are doing that. Not that they're not already in Europe and everything. But I mean, my mindset is more on the US and Canada and Europe. That type of thing. I'm not talking translated. I'm talking about just still written in English. All of the comics. But yeah, they're my Hellfire series is very horror, pulp, retro, Christian tones, all kind of true crime, all that type of thing. It's really outstanding. I mean, the issue is this: if it was the absolute best comic series that had ever been penned in the history of the world, surpassing all others, if I only sold a few of them, that wouldn't be a success, because it's not based on how good I think it is or how good so and so thinks it is, even though that's great, and thank you and God bless you if you like it. Glad that you found something you like it. Sure, middle of the road, but yeah, I put a lot of money into this. That wouldn't be considered a win. Of course, I don't just talk about and promote my own comics, because if you do, and I say this broadly, you suck. But I read others as well, indies and mainstream titles. So this was my poll for this week on Wednesday. The Dirt Beneath the Devil. So if you know anything about me, like in literature, or actually, or a rare person that like knows me, because there's a lot of people that are like, "Hey man, I know you." It's like, what, you knew me when I was what, 14 or what? That's not the same thing. I like westerns. And if you don't, what's wrong with you? I could watch Gunsmoke all day long. Heard somebody say something about the Tombstone movie and everything. I could watch that over and over and over again. No Country for Old Men, even though that is what do they call that? A neo-western, because it's a western that's not in the western era or whatever. It's like how they've got neo-noir. But that's one of my favorite movies and everything. Anyway, this is going to be a slow burn. It's going to be like 4 or 5 books, something like that. I don't remember. You can look on League of Comic Geeks, but it's a nice story. The art in it. Let me just flip to a random page. The art in it is done pretty well. This is where the woman is meeting the horse. Her daddy died. All these people are there. There's the back of it. All these people are there for the inheritance. Where her dad died, and they've all got to ride out to this place, like on the horses and all that. And there's some questionable characters and all, but he has a plan. I'm just going to tell you that this horse doesn't take garbage off of anybody. You take that how you want to, but I mean it. And if you read it, you'll understand fully. Because I'm talking with people that are over in the UK and all that, and in my heart of hearts, it's something that's like beautiful to me, because with my literary books in Western Europe, they do all right. They do pretty well, and so that makes me love you all that much more. Of course, my family at whatever point was from there. Northumberland specifically is the Blankenship, or as it was then, Blankenship. There's a village named that place over there. That's northern England for like people that don't know. If anybody's listening and it's like British or whatever, I would just assume they knew. But it's by the North Sea and all that, on the edge of the Roman Empire. Anyway, so I'm looking up stuff because of my Hellfire thing. So I'm not talking about like Beano or whatever, but it's like, what would be the closest thing to what I'm doing over there, right? Now in the UK, a big thing that people do, and I guess that like presumably, I don't know. I would have to call and have conversations, but presumably, I guess like Spider-Man or whatever is like written in this normal American size or whatever. In the UK, they use, I believe it's called the A4 size stuff. So this book right here, behind that, is the UK size. So it's a bit bigger. You can look that up in millimeters, inches, whatever. The A4 size of it. And this, as you can see, is a 2000 AD. So that's what's really popular over there. I mean, like hot, like on fire. And they put them out every single week. $7.99 to $8. Physical. They do not charge them a dime. Is what it says online. Like people that subscribe to it to have them delivered. But that's the Judge Dredd world. This is the newest one. There's a comic shop around here that gets these. It's the newest one. And I said, I just want to get one of them so I can read through it. Now, a lot of times I will talk to y'all, if you've heard me ranting, raving, whatever, about how I'm like an episodic, I can write serialized stuff, but how I'm like an episodic storyteller. Like it's a full episode in a thing. That's what I prefer. Serialized is like a soap opera where you get a fragment of a story. It's like if you had a slow burn, like multi-part, like this is, and I don't say that with any knock on this. This is a slow burn. This is serialized. Some enough happens that maybe you could put it on the edge of because of episodic. Somebody dies in it. That's all you need to know. And other than the dude that like actually died, like somebody dies and it gets like killed in it, and you want him to die. It's not a character that you're gonna like. Anyway, this has like 4 different serialized stories in it, and that's what it's comprised of. And essentially, when you buy the next issue, you can keep up with what's going on and all of these storylines. Because I'm thinking, like, what do they do that they put this out like every week, right? So you start with Judge Rico. You go ahead, you've got a page that just kind of tells you, like, hey, here's some stuff to catch up on some things. Then you start out with Judge Rico. It's like 6 pages, right? And so you have what a few backgrounds that are rendered on that page. And then when you go over to pages 2 and 3, like a lot of those aren't full like backgrounds in it at all. Most of it is just like a gradient or whatever. Sometimes you'll have the ground, you'll have a little bit of like a wall or something in one of them, but most of them aren't backgrounds. They're just stylized, like colored, back things, which means that it's going to take you a lot less time as the artist to draw that. You draw the characters, the guns, the action. You might show that there's a wall or something here or there, and there you have it. By the way, I like when comics do this, like for contrast or whatever. Like I like it when the white on the page shows and everything. I think that it looks cool. And there's some people that understand how to do that. And I mean this is like the biggest compliment. But Rob Liefeld, who I'm not. This isn't about his storytelling. This isn't about his writing, about any of that stuff. But he does stuff like this because he knows that visually it looks cool, and he is correct. It does look cool. But no, the layouts for all of this look very nice. So when you got like this page over here, you've got like you can see the shelf thing behind him or whatever. There's not a whole lot more background going on in the Judge Rico. Other than that, you've got 4 panels on the back one. The biggest panel that's taking up most of the page is the one that you actually have like a cityscape with a flying car and everything on. You get like an ad page right here for some stuff. I'm just showing you that they totally differ. You've got backgrounds on most of the things here, at least fragments of them. Totally different, a far more simplistic art style. Not a lot of detail to the faces and all that. It totally works. It's its own thing. That's Brink, the Call from the Void, part 20. By the way, part 20. So you have that goes on for I think it's 5 pages. Then you're gonna kick into the one that is the most uber detailed. So all of you like art freaks out there, that's like I'm about the art of the book. Who cares if it's written well or if it's just written okay or whatever. I'm about that art, and the art is cool as long as the story is cool. But you're getting a lot of stuff with these books, right? So this let me fold this other page back so I'm not distracting you. This baby is the next one right here. You've got skulls and fire, and really I don't think that my camera's doing justice on this. I mean, I could flip on a light, but why am I going to do that? The room is dim. You've got a whole lot that's happening in this, some very cool things. It's talking about Judge Death and all this sort of stuff. But you have some really neat, really cool things, a lot of lighting, a lot of shadow, a lot of faint images and all that. It's very boogery, it's very horror. That part is. So you have that for the next story, and it goes on for about that long. The next one will be Mortal Kombat with a C, not a K, because it's not Midway Games. The next one, Nightmare in New York, Book 2, Part 4, deals a lot with magic, and it looks like that. So where are we? It looks like that. So it's kind of traditional, typical. You have fully rendered characters, you have fully rendered backgrounds, you have shadows, and everything like that. There's not a panel that doesn't have backgrounds and color and everything going on in that one. So some of them go the more old school route of we don't have to show you everything. We're just focusing on the main dude. And some of them give you like the panels and everything too. You've got that stuff going on there. You got an ad right here for it. There's one more story. The other one is it's kind of typical for I don't even know which company to compare it to, but like stylistically, it's not any like hyper detailed, exaggerated. It holds its own well. Finally, on the very back of the book, I mean, I could show you like and here where it ends, and it's giving you another like thing that's telling you a bunch of information about books and all that because you need to get like locked into this, right? Um, Finally, on the back of the book, they've got a 2000 AD. This is if you were looking up online, if you're like, man, I want to get a subscription of that, and you can do digital, and you get all the back stuff and all that. So I mean, that's the uber cheapest way because this is issue 2491 of so it's closing in on 2500 of 2000 AD. They're weekly books. They're $8 a book. There's also Judge Dredd books, but you can get it for like on the Rebellion. That's the publisher, the same one that makes the video games. You can go on there and you can get just a digital subscription. I think for this one, it seems like it's $10 a month. I may be wrong on that. That's not for this and Judge Dredd. You can get them combined or one or the other, but so you can read insane profuse amounts of stuff for that. Because they put it out that heavy. You could also pay to get them delivered. You could also have it put in your pull box, have your comic shop do that, however you want to. Anyway, on the back of it, they're advertising the Judgment on Gotham, and that is where Judge Dredd and Batman are both in Gotham, doing their thing and everything. So now, I just wanted to check that out. I had never read one of those before, but let me see what this is because that's what's hot in the UK. If you're like, what's the hot comic? And there's different ones, right? Because you get like some historical ones and all that. Like I said, you have like comics like Beano or whatever. You have like Phoenix, is it? I don't remember if it's press or whatever. That's the publisher label, but they're like kiddie comics. They're like Dogman, stuff like that, for kids. But if you're like, what's the more like adult stuff? The Judge Dredd. So I mean, I guess Scotland, Ireland, all that too. I guess, but like the United Kingdom, totally. That's the thing. Of course, you got like a different French market and everything. I've been looking into a lot of that because to me, a lot of that's cool. There's people that, and they're not wrong because manga's become so popular here in the United States, like to the point that it's like it like nuts, like wild popular, right? Um, and yet completely oblivious, blind to the fact that the European comic book market is huge. It's big. It's quite big, and I'm interested in that. My stuff, man. I don't know. It's probably like the Hellfire stuff if you wanted to like put it in a box, and I hate being put in a box, but it's kind of like if you said Ed Brubaker and Stephen King had a baby, that's what it would be. It's like it's more like that type of thing. So if you'd be into that, if you're into the movie Seven, Red Dragon, Frailty, stuff like that. Um, you know, uh, yeah, I think that you would like it. You can try it out, whatever. I'll begin publishing in November, December, January, February, March, April. That's when the Hellfire stuff first season is going to come out. If I make enough money to go ahead and to do a second or third season, I absolutely will. Anyway, that's just me coming on talking about this. just spitballing it, putting it out there for you. You know, I don't know. That's all I got for you right now. This is way shorter than most videos.